Hi folks, today I'm going to show you how to install a brand new ceiling fan from start to finish, spanning 11 basic steps. Perfect if you're replacing an old or malfunctioning one, like the one we have here. In this case, the existing fan was too small for the living room and mounted way too closely to the ceiling. If you actually look closely, you'll see that the blades were hitting the ceiling and causing damage. So we're replacing it with a new Home Decorators ceiling fan, which I've already unboxed. Let's take a look at what came in the box. We've got the remote control, which I plan to mount on that wall over there. A flush mount component, which I won't be using since I want the fan to hang lower. The light cover, blade screws, and canopy components. The mounting bracket, which is very important. The light fixture, and the connector piece that links it to the canopy. Blade brackets and the blades themselves. The receiver, which the remote communicates with. The main fan motor and its cable. And finally, balancing weights in case the fan wobbles, which I don't need to use for my project. Step 1 is about safety. Before we do anything, turn off the power at the circuit breaker. We'll be working with electrical wiring, so safety is key. Step 2, removing the old fan. Most ceiling fans are assembled very similarly, so what I'm doing here will likely apply to your setup too. Start by removing the screws from the canopy, usually about 4 of them. Now this part surprised me. The entire fan just came off. That's not supposed to happen, and it definitely made me nervous. It clearly wasn't installed securely. We'll be replacing that bracket with the new one from our kit. The new bracket comes pre-attached to the canopy, so we'll unscrew the 4 screws to separate them and use just the bracket for mounting. While I quickly remove the bracket, give me 1 second, folks. It's definitely a red. Alright, let's move on to step 3, installing the new bracket. Since I don't have a mounting plate in the ceiling, I'm attaching the bracket directly to the joist. I used a stud finder to locate the joist edges and mark them with painter's tape. I then secured the bracket with 4 screws, 2 on each side. I even hung myself with my full weight to make sure it was solid, giving me confidence that it was on there secure. Step 4, preparing the canopy. Remove the safety pin and remove the small tube from the motor base. Make sure to keep the tube and the pin nearby to avoid losing them, as we'll need them later. Next, loosen, but no need to remove entirely, the 2 screws on the motor base. With the tube removed and the 2 screws loosened, we will be able to thread the mounting rod through it. Take the wires and slide them through the mounting rod. I don't know y'all, but these wires are too damn long. I get it. If you needed to install this on a vaulted ceiling, but for my case, it just makes it a hassle when doing a regular installation. Once you have the wires fully through the mounting rod, thread the rod clockwise until the holes align. Don't thread it all the way through. That's not how this is going to be secured. By reinserting the tube through the motor base and the mounting rod, it'll create a stronger connection. Once you slide the tube through, reinsert the pin to lock it in place. Next, tighten the 2 screws that you loosened earlier to wrap up attaching the mounting rod to the motor base. We will now need to slide things through the mounting rod, but the black base is in the way. So the next step is to remove it temporarily. To do so, loosen the screw as you see here. You'll notice the base slides down. Then remove the tube, but keep it nearby. The last thing preventing us from removing the black base is the screw that attaches the neutral wire to the rod. Fully remove this screw and keep it close to the tube. Be careful not to drop the screw like I did here. It's a pain in the ass to have to find. With all this done, we can now remove the black base. It's still red. Now, slide through the wires and through the rod, the decorative cover, the ring, and the canopy. If you are following along with me, it's at this point where I forgot to slide in one piece, right before the canopy. I'll show you later what I missed and how I plan to fix it. With all those things fed through the wires and the rod, we can now reattach the black base to the rod. With the black base fed through the rod, reconnect the neutral wire to the rod. Slide the tube back through the rod and then pull the base up to it, rotating the black base until you get it flush with the tube. Lastly, secure the black base with the rod by tightening the screw. We've finished prepping the canopy, but before mounting it, let's go to step number 5, setting the receiver code. Find the dip switch settings on the receiver. This will be on the back side of it and is nothing more than 4 switches, which allows for a total of 16 unique combinations. This is set at the factory and is randomized to minimize the chances of a remote controlling multiple fans in the home. The remote is also programmed at the factory to match the dip switch settings on the receiver. But just to be safe, remove the back cover of the remote and verify that the settings match. Use a small flathead screwdriver or pin to adjust them if needed. On to step number 6, mounting the fan. You'll want to have a second person for this part. Lift the canopy that we assembled earlier and hook it onto the bracket. Make sure it is on there secure like you see here. Once it's secure, I recommend to loop the excess wire around the bracket to make the wiring easier. Pro tip here, to make things easier for you in the future, slide the receiver in this very moment on the top of the bracket. It may be a tight fit, but this will help conceal the wiring later on. On to step number 7, wiring. You'll need a total of 6 wire nuts, which came with a box. The first 2 will connect the receiver to the cable in the ceiling. This one is easy. Simply connect the black wires together and then connect the 2 white wires together. The next 3 will connect the wires from the receiver to the fan. This is also pretty simple. Connect the 2 wires together, the 2 black wires together, and the 2 blue wires together. Lastly, take the ground wires, which are green, and connect them all together. I recommend doing a pull test on each wire to make sure the wires have a strong connection. Electrical tape is fully optional, folks. I usually don't need it if the connections are tight. Step 8, testing the fan. Before moving forward, we want to make sure that the fan is working after making the electrical connections. To do so, turn the power back on at the breaker and test the remote. Make sure that the light and fan motor both work. If they do, great, we can continue. If they don't, however, you'll want to check that you wired things correctly and that the pin settings on the remote and the receiver match as I showed earlier. Step 9, securing the canopy. Slide the canopy cover up and align it with the bracket holes. Use the small screws provided. There are 4 of them, 2 for each side. While I do this, it's worth noting that the place where I was mounting this fan was in an area where the ceiling fan was at an angle. So I only managed to install 2 screws due to the tight space. And that's okay. These screws are only attaching the canopy cover, which is very light. Once the canopy cover is installed, slide the decorative ring over the screws to hide them. Step 10, installing the blades. Slide each blade into place. Align the bracket that comes with the kit underneath the blade and secure it with 3 screws. It takes a bit of patience, but it's straightforward. This fan had a total of 4 blades that I had to install. Step 11, install the light fixture. Loosen 2 screws and entirely remove the 3rd screw from the mounting base. You'll notice on this plate that there are 3 holes closest to the center, 2 which have an extended smaller opening. This is done by design. Check it out. I'll go up the ladder and take the plate, slide it such that the 2 screws go through the larger hole, and then rotate it so that the screws now are over the smaller hole. Hold the plate in place at this point and tighten the 2 screws. Then take the 3rd screw that was removed earlier and simply tighten it through the remaining opening. That looks great. The LED component has the same 3-hole and installation mechanism as the plate we just installed. So basically, just repeat the same steps. The difference is that the screws we'll work with are on the outer end of the plate. We'll loosen 2 screws, remove a 3rd screw, mount the LED onto the plate, rotate it so the two screws are flush on the smaller hole, and then tighten all the screws. Before mounting the LED, connect it to the cable that is dangling from the fan. You'll notice two holes, one with a black wire and the other one with a white one. This will tell you how to connect the LED's plug into it. Lastly, install the light cover by twisting it clockwise until it locks. Be sure that it's under secure. Try to pull it down so that it doesn't fall randomly on you. Here's the part I forgot earlier. I missed sliding in a trim piece that would have hidden some of the wiring that you can see here. I plan to cut it and glue it in place later to improve the look. If you want to mount the remote on the wall, just pop out the screw covers. Don't throw them out though, because after you mount the holder, you'll reinstall those covers to hide the drywall screws. And that's it, folks. We've got a beautiful, functional ceiling fan that looks great and works perfectly. It wasn't too hard, just needed a little help and patience. If you found this video helpful, please go ahead and give it a like and share with others. And subscribe for more DIY do-it-yourself content. I post videos on home maintenance, repairs, renovations, and more. Everything from flooring and plumbing to drywall and appliances. As always, folks, thank you so much for watching, and till next time.